Today we're going to be reviewing Hoppers. So Hoppers follows a girl named Mabel who wants to save this part of the forest because the mayor of her town wants to build a highway over it that will basically destroy the wildlife in that area. So her plan is to find a way for a beaver to make a dam because they destroyed the dam and all the water is going out. So doing it would bring all the animals back, but unfortunately she can't do that. Then she discovers that her teacher created technology that translates the consciousness of a human into a robotic animal, and it makes the wildlife believe that they are a part of that society. So Mabel does exactly that. She inhabits the robot beaver, goes into the wilderness, and tries to convince the wildlife to save that area from the mayor. But when she proposes in taking down the mayor, who they call the Human King, they decide to squish him. In other words, they decide to kill him. And after making a terrible mistake, she now has to find a way to save the mayor and find a way to also save that area of the forest. So I understand for a while now. Well, not for a while. I guess it started when 2020 hit. So for a long time in the 2020s decade, Pixar hasn't really been doing well with their recent films. Now, I want to just go ahead and say I enjoyed Soul. I never watched it, literally around the time it came out, but I got around to watch it like 2 years ago, and I liked it. I watched Turning Red, and I enjoyed it. I watched Luca, and I enjoyed it. And I watched Lightyear, which out of the four is my least favorite, but I still enjoyed it. They didn't do the origin story justice, but I still enjoyed it. Just not as much as the ones that came before it. And I did watch Elio, and after figuring out the changes behind the scenes, I'm going to go ahead and say I don't like it in the same vein. I'm going to say it's tied as my least favorite with Lightyear. They're both tied at this point. So, Hoppers for this movie, I can't say that it's bad. I can't say that it's the best thing that they've made, but I can say for certain that it's certainly one of their great films that has been coming out lately. Okay, it's if I had to say which one I liked during the 2010s, it's Luca, Turning Red, and right now it's Hoppers. So these are my big three right now with the films that have been coming out. And I actually do like the direction that the movie was going in. So, one, this movie is made by the same guy who made We Bare Bears. We all know that. And when it was announced, that was really it. I just knew about its announcement and I waited. I believe the announcement was like 2 years ago, so I didn't really care too much about it because of the concept, but I still was curious about the direction that it was going in. So now that the film came out, now that I watched it, I got curious. So what do I think about it? So Mabel's character arc here is it's basically this. She wants to do this, but she does this instead, which makes things worse. She wants to help the Grove, but she can't because, well, she doesn't have that much power. And she tried everything she could. Get petitions. It didn't work. She tried to get a beaver so that they could save the Grove. Didn't work. And then she finally got something, which was transferring her mind into the beaver. She went to the woods. She found the community. And although saving Grove did work for a time because she took down a tree that kept them away, it didn't work because they implanted more and kicked all those animals out. And now she went to a council along with the Beaver King, whose name is George. So she told them about the Human King. She told them what they were doing, what they had to do, and they took it too far in the wrong direction. And killing him was what they felt like was the best option. But that wasn't what Mabel wanted. So she killed one of the kings, and now the whole council, the whole animal kingdom, is now after Mabel. So now her friends, who is George, there was this lizard, Loaf, and this bear, they go to find the mayor, they tell him what's happening, and it all goes incredibly wrong. Like, George, no, not George, the mayor understands that he's in danger. He does do what Mabel says. But it's when they bring out the shark, he keeps finding opportunities to get out. And when he finds out that he's not having a dream because he thought he was having a dream, he thought he's not having a dream. It's not a dream. And the obvious route for him to get out of this problem was that all he had to do was just not finish the highway, or maybe just find a way around it. We'll get to that point when we get there. All he had to do was just go around it. That's all he had to do. Unfortunately, he didn't do that. He just didn't want to listen. He just didn't want to find that area. So this was when Mabel messed up again and sold him out. At the same time, the two doctors that she took the beaver from also found her. And, well, the truth comes out. She's actually a human. The beaver's actually a robot. There's also a scene where the doctors have these other robots like a crane and a rabbit, but unfortunately they all got destroyed. If they were going to get destroyed, then what was the point of having them around? It would have made more sense if it happened in the final act, but okay. And then they found out about the technology. The animals found out about the technology and made the doctors and the teachers do what they did with the animals, but did it in reverse, where the animals can go in the machine and their brains are implanted into a robot. Human, which is like a version of it's like a copy of the mayor. And guess what? The main villain of the feature this whole time, it's not the Animal Council, it's not the mayor, it's actually a member of the council, which is a butterfly. Okay, so the caterpillar has a mom who's a butterfly, and Mabel as a beaver killed it, and the caterpillar basically became the feature's villain. And he became a butterfly, he molted into a butterfly, and he is piloting a copy of the mayor. And he is voiced by Dave Franco. You can imagine how quickly I realized that was the actor. Like, I heard it in his voice when he was excited. And honestly, it was a short portrayal. I'm not sure if he played him from beginning to end, or there was like this kid who played him, or they changed his voice when he became a butterfly and inhabited his body. But however it happened, Dave Franco portrayed Titus amazingly. Like, I understand actors that basically don't use a voice to play the character. I understand that. So I understand if you guys watch this movie, I understand if you guys hated that Dave Franco was basically playing himself, or was trying to play a character but was into playing himself. That never really bothered me. Like, the realization sucks, yes, but when you hear his voice, it doesn't bother me. So his portrayal as the mayor piloting a robot version of himself and being the villain, it didn't bother me at all. It actually worked amazingly, and I actually liked how it played out. Now, how he was defeated was actually, a little anticlimactic. The Frog Council member ate him, and he died. But this is Pixar we're talking about. Most of the villains that get defeated do get defeated in the most humiliating or funny or hilariously humiliating ways. And Titus getting eaten by a frog is something that we should have saw happening, or getting stomped. He was either going to get eaten or stomped. It was one of those two, and he got eaten. So to me, it wasn't really that big of a surprise, but it was a surprise at the same time. Anyway, his attack and his interference caused a forest fire that was going to destroy the town. So all the mammals band together and take out the pieces of the dam piece by piece, but unfortunately it's not working. So after that, they call all the factions of the wildlife, and because of that, they were able to do it. And because of that, they were able to take out the forest fire that was almost going to destroy the entire town, or was going to burn the town. And when they returned, the grove was destroyed, and Mabel's dream of restoring the pond was destroyed as well. But then the mayor came in, and I wasn't sure what was going to happen. I thought he was going to really take the forest area, but then a part of me really thought that he was going to save it. And I got happy when he did that. And when they did, everything basically went the way that it did for everyone. All the animals got what they wanted. They got their home back. Mabel saved the grove, and the mayor, he decided to continue the freeway, but this time somewhere not by the grove. So everything went by actually great. And as for Mabel, who was wasting her time saving a portion of the land, she actually focused on university and graduating college, and was going to work for the doctors. And it seemed like she's going to be developing some different kind of technology where it's the same technology but through different animals, where she implants the brain into a dog. I think that's what's going to happen. But if I had to say anything, with how the movie ended, I do think it needs a sequel. But I think we gotta wait like 5-6 years. I mean, 10 years would be nice, honestly. You know, just for people who likes the movie a lot can have some room to breathe. But I don't know. It also ended like it didn't need a sequel, because she did say, okay, so put it like this. There are two different points that agrees and disagrees with me. One, she's developing new technology. Okay, let's explore that in a sequel. But it ends with with Mabel sitting with George as he is playing with the phone to translate with her. Okay? That's a good ending for her character. So you kind of get the problem here. But honestly, like I said, if there is going to be a sequel, I'd rather wait 5 or 10 years. At least then you guys who like the movie can have time to adjust and enjoy that this is how the franchise is going for right now. So for me, yes, I definitely like a sequel. But as a movie as a whole, I enjoyed everything. The comedy was well paced. The movie was well put together. Everything just worked for me. It felt like Pixar was back at their roots, and although the animation style wasn't what we were used to, it still felt like Pixar was being Pixar. Even if they had a few changes in there, this film doesn't have that type of problem, okay? That's why it's a part of the big three. It has that same feel as I felt when I watched Turning Red and Luca. So I'm proud to say that this film is actually really good, and I think Pixar is back in the right direction. All we gotta do is just wait and see how the rest of their films are going to be. If this is their only film for 2026, then that's fine. I can't wait until their next film in 2027, which I believe is called Gato, but that's basically it. So here's my rating. I'm going to give the story a 9 out of 10 and the movie a 10 out of 10.